Greetings and blessings. Welcome, everybody, once again to One Love Center for Spiritual Living. I am Reverend Rodney Gittens, and I welcome each and every one of you. We're going to start, as we usually do, with our opening song, Choosing Heaven. And I just want to say, as we start off the month of September, we start off in a powerful way. We start off with a deep consciousness of knowing that we are indeed examining our lives in a deeper way. And part of that is, what do we choose for our lives each and every day? So we have a great, wonderful celebration service today. And we're going to start, of course, with our opening song, Choosing Heaven. And remember, you can type into the comments, type into the chat, what you're choosing for yourself. And remember, also, what you choose for yourself, you're choosing for all. Why? Because we're all one. So the good that we choose for ourselves, we choose for all. So let's start with Choosing Heaven today. Yes, greetings. Choosing heaven. Yes, we are. And we are most certainly prospering because of it. So, what did you choose? Peace, love, joy, heaven, all of the good that you can desire and more? Well, yes. And if you didn't choose them, you can choose those and more. So, at this time, going to invite Lita Perez, our practitioner, to the stage.
Hello.
And yes, and she is going to welcome everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, Reverend Rodney. I really appreciate it. I want to talk about a little bit about the mission for One Love Center for Spiritual Living to provide a stable and welcoming community for all who choose to learn, practice, grow, and play in the unfolding of their understanding of spiritual principles and principles. And spiritual principles. We envision a world as a sacred environment where spiritual living flourishes through the continual growth and development of learning and the application of spiritual principles. One Love practices compassion in service, love and action, and joyous, prosperous giving in the community. Our community has been lovingly created as a place of fellowship, meditation, prayer, sacred and healing service, musical celebration, classes and workshops, and spiritual films. So we want to welcome you. We want to welcome all of you. We recognize the splendor of the divine spirit that is you. Please know that we support you in being the best you choose to be in your glorious life. So we thank you for celebrating spirit with us today. Welcome to a place where love grows. And now at this time, I'm honored to introduce to you Professor Jamela Franklin, award-winning author, radio talk shows, certified aromatherapist, certified Reiki master. I'm going to be calling you practitioner and teacher, certified metaphysician, and holistic life coach. Welcome, Professor Jamela, to One Love Spiritual Center.
Thank you, Lita and Reverend Rod. It is such a pleasure and an honor. I am so grateful and thankful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just want to add also, because there's so much to say about this quite accomplished person, that she has a wonderful show called Gray Lives on the Rise. It's a podcast, and I'm just so honored to have been one of those gray lives on the rise on the show, on the podcast. And you can find that on YouTube. And she does like one a week. It's just really awesome. And so, as it says, redefining what it means to live vibrantly and authentically after 50 years on this planet, in this form. Okay. And so it really is great to just obliterate the stereotypes that so many people have of us older adults who have been here a little while longer. So she's on a mission, is to highlight the incredible achievements, experience, and stories of those over 50, continue to make significant impact in their careers, communities, and personal lives. And as you can see as well, there's her website and her Facebook page, so you can definitely visit that as well. Okay, so we're going at this time. I'm going to open this up for prayer, for our opening prayer. Okay, so we just invite each one to just join us as we go within. And just knowing that there's only one life. That life is the life of the Creator, the life of that divine infinite presence that resides in, through, and as each and every one of us, most certainly myself. And I know what is true of me is true of all, because we're all one. And how wonderful it is to know that in this space of thanksgiving and gratitude for this life, for the good that continues to flow in this life, we give recognition to it, and we get to speak to what it is that is desirable in and as our lives. And for today, talking about what's the point of it all anyway, is exactly that. What is a divine reason each and every one of us is here on the planet? And I know that it must be good, and that each one is open to revealing the best of who we are here, who we are meant to be, and who we are being. And so I give thanks for this opportunity to speak to it, to share this with all of each and every one watching, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording. If you're watching live or the recording, please feel free to share this conversation in the greater being revealed as each and every one. And again, I am so grateful and thankful to have our guest, Professor Jamela Franklin, to have Lita Perez with us on stage and behind the scenes, and all of the good that is happening with each one, wherever you are, because we are all sharing in this wonderful dynamic energy of life. So I bless today's celebration. I bless all that happened in preparation for it. I bless all of the technology that it works perfectly for everyone presenting and watching and participating. And how wonderful it is as well to know that I know that all those who are taking the moments to participate, to watch, to share this, that it is life-changing in all ways that are seen and unseen. Yet I know that there is good happening from this and each continuing moment. So I, in gratitude and thanksgiving, release this word to the law of divine right action that is already manifesting this good in ways known and unknown. And with that, I simply claim it that it is good, and just invite each one to join me in affirming it by saying, and so it is, and now it is, right here, even now. Thank you so much. We're going to invite Lita to talk about prayer for a moment.
Thank you so much. That was wonderful. And what you've just experienced is prayer, affirmative prayer. And that was the evocation. So One Love Center has prayer professionals ready, willing, and able to remind you that spirit is full of power, charged and already within you for your immediate use. We do have prayers here, prayer professionals here for you. All you have to do is contact us at onelovecenter.org. For any prayer that you're in search of needing, just let us know and we will pray for you for 7 days. And if we need to continue to pray for you, we are honored to do that. So give us a shout out, email us and let us know. Again, the email address is onelovecenter.org. And please know that all your prayers are kept in the strictest of confidence. Thank you and be blessed.
Thank you so much, Lita. And so it is such a great pleasure to have you with us, Professor Jamela. And I thought of you instantly when about this topic, because this topic really is about expressing our divine purpose. And I remember you telling me about how what you do now, how it came to you, and if you would just share that with our folks here.
Thank you so much again, Reverend Rod. Indeed, I really appreciate the warm welcome that I have received and that you are so graciously opening up your platform to allow me to talk to your audience. Well, in terms of Great Lives on the Rise, I was walking because I exercise. I love walking in nature. I just love communing with nature. And so I was walking one day and all of a sudden this download came to my consciousness. And it basically said, there is nothing that speaks to your specific demographic, meaning people who are 50 plus. And I thought about it and I said, oh yeah, that's true. Except AARP, the American Association for Retired Persons, and I am far from being retired, and Medicare, and I'm vegan, so I'm pretty healthy, very healthy. It doesn't mean that people who are not vegan are not healthy. It just means that I am healthy. So those two organizations that have been set aside for people who are 50 plus didn't really appeal to me. And then so this downloads, this presence, this energy said, you need to come up with a name for the movement, because it's a movement. You need to come up with a branding concept. You need to redefine how you see yourselves, and a podcast. So the first name I came up with was Gray Lives Matter. I said, that's overused. That didn't really speak to me, right? It didn't really speak to me. And then Gray Lives on the Rise came to me. Woo, woo, woo. I said, wow, I really like that, because lives rhymes with rise. And we're on the ascend. We're going up. We're not going down. And then the other thing that came to me was, okay, you have to start relanguaging how you refer to yourselves. You're not old, you're not elderly, you're not seniors, you're none of that. Uh, what you are is that you're vibrant, you're alive, you're seasoned, you're mature, and you're active. And I said, yeah, that's true. And then the next thing was branding. You need to brand it, because people will remember things all of 1 second. But then if they see something in writing, then it sticks. So I came up with Great Lives on the Rise merchandise, which is in our store. We have wonderful t-shirts that you, Reverend Rod, has bought. And the melon t-shirt looks so perfect on you. It is really good. So we have t-shirts, we have mugs with Great Lives on the Rise inscribed on them. We have doormats, we have cosmetic bags, we have hoodies, you name it. The store is full of wonderful, wonderful reminders that we are on the rise. And then the last thing was the podcast. I said, okay. And then talking with people around the world, because this is a global movement, I found that they also share the same sentiment that when you turn 50, people tend to dismiss you or gaslight you. Now, you could be 49 today and people think you're relevant. But when you have that 50th birthday, all of a sudden you are put in the retirement home. You have no relevance. And people around the world, and my talking with them, said the same thing. We've had people on from Serbia, which is in Eastern Europe, Australia, Canada, the UK, the Netherlands, and we've also had people originally from the Philippines, from Haiti, from Central America, from South America.
Mhm.
We've had people from around the world, and definitely from here. And so I thought about it, and they agreed that they were having the same issues, that people didn't see them as employable anymore. And the irony of it, Dr. Rod, is that the people who own the companies that these people work for are all over 50.
Mm.
Irony. Your boss is over 50, who pays you, who employed you, and you think that he or she is relevant, but then other people coming back into the workplace, you don't think that they're relevant. So in talking with people, they were very happy to tell their stories. So on my podcast, what we do is we allow people to tell their stories, to sell their merchandise, their services. I don't determine the topic. The speaker determines the topic. And in
Yes.
doing so, it's really, really invigorating, because they're talking about something that means something to them versus mine coming up with a topic that isn't that relevant to them, but they are like, oh, okay, she wants me to talk about this, I will.
Right.
My
Right.
heart is in it. So every presenter has done extremely well, because he or she is very interested and motivated. And we have males, like you on my show, you did extremely well. We have males, we have females, it's global. As I mentioned, I've had people from different
Mhm.
countries. It's
Right.
multi-ethnic, multi-racial, multi-religious. So all the person has to do is express that he or she is interested in presenting the audience with a topic that
Mhm.
you both feel would be relevant.
Right. Yeah.
So
And I
we're
want
going
to.
into our second year this year too. We
Awesome.
just turned 50 episodes, so we're now almost into our 56th episode.
That's great. And here it is. And you mentioned something that I thought was very important, and it actually leads into our first quote. And because you're talking about the vibrancy, you're talking about all of that. So yeah. Um, Right. So yeah, the first quote says, "You are a spontaneous, self-choosing center of life in the great drama of being, of the great drama of being, the great joy of becoming, the certainty of external expansion." That's from Ernest Holmes, this thing called You, page 25, which is an excellent book for anybody who wants to break into new thought, religious science, spiritual living. Great little book that really puts it out there for you. And so, yeah, I really heard and felt that from what you were sharing, that
Mm,
just because we cross that into the half century mark, all of a sudden, what, we're not, we have no relevancy. Yeah, yeah, we're spontaneous self choosing,
mhm,
and each one is a center of their own lives.
mhm.
And we get to continue to live in this way. And so we ask folks in our audience, how does it feel to know that you are a self choosing center of life with the freedom to expand and create? What choices are you making today that align with your joy of becoming? You want to share on any of that?
Mhm. Well, may I speak to that?
Sure.
Okay,
Personally or generally, or however you'd like to share.
both. Both. I love the concept in that in today's world, what is happening, being bombarded that you are not the creator of your existence, your world. That external things are determining your financial security, your mental stability, and your physical safety. Because the things now that are happening that are external are really dominating a lot of people's consciousness. And it's very challenging to hold on to the spiritual truth and knowledge that you are a spontaneous, self choosing center of life in the
Hmm.
great drama of being, because we are experiencing some drama. And I
Hmm.
think what Ernest Holmes says for people to hold this true and dear to their hearts. I know for me, having I'm self-employed for the most part, and I was working as a consultant for an outplacement agency, and I was doing very well. I was doing that to supplement my income with my businesses, and then all of a sudden, I was laid off unexpectedly. So I had to go back to saying that the external forces are not in control of my destiny. The creator of the universe is the one that is in my aligning, which is important, have an alignment with this concept, because you can think it, but you have to be it. Like I
Hmm.
said, and in becoming, you know that you're in alignment. So it is, as you had mentioned earlier, during the the service. As long as we hold that to be true, despite the external circumstances, then I think we can experience the great joy of becoming.
Hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. And let's take on, why don't you start the next question? The next quote.
Okay, the place where you are right now, God circled on a map for you by Hafiz. Now that's really important because people desire to be in the future or in the past. It's very challenging for people to stay in the present moment and to know that what you're experiencing is divinely created for you. And it's created based on the first quote that we did in terms of your consciousness, in terms of your alignment too. So even though it may feel very uncomfortable, even though it may feel very shaky for you and uncertain because you don't know the next step, you are exactly where you need to be in the process of becoming and evolving. So just take a breath and
Hmm.
just know that it is all fine. It's all okay. Even in the midst of the storm. God circled on a map this place for you right here now.
Absolutely. And and it's important that we get to realize not only I would say not only that yes, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. Um, as you mentioned, sometimes it's like, what am I doing here? Yeah. Yes, we have to really depend on a positive faith that
Yeah.
yes, God put me here. Not only, and I'm adding, not only did the Creator create the space and put me in this space, the Creator is still here with me in
Mm-hmm.
this space. It didn't just like, there you go, you're off on your own. No,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you can call it God or whatever name works for you. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it is still and always with you. You can get biblical and so many different religions have the same sentiment that right where I am, God is. You know, uh,
Yes.
the Father is always with you. However
Yes.
you want to say it. You know,
Yes.
what? And I'll also add, believe it or not. Because sometimes we question that, God, how could you leave me? No, that's not the case. We only thought for some moment that God wasn't with us in a moment of trials and tribulations.
Mm-hmm.
Except you have to look at the fact that you made it through. All the power and energy that you needed to overcome that situation or to get through that situation.
Yes.
You're becoming. You know the presence, that divine presence, infinite spirit is with us all the time. So let's bring up another quote. It says, all human endeavor is an attempt to get back to first principles, to find such an inward wholeness that all sense of fear, doubt, and uncertainty vanishes. That's Ernest
Mm-hmm.
Holmes' Art of Life. And so I just want to mention first principle is number one, there's only one. That's first, is whether it's Genesis, God created, however you want the first principle is that there is wholeness and oneness. And there's a power, of the universe that created the universe that also created us and that we are able to use that same power. And when we do so, that sense of wholeness, there's nothing to fear because there
Yeah.
is only one power and fear is not a power. Doubt is not a power. Worry is not a power. Even if we think we're giving them power, they're still not a power.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, did you want to speak to that?
Yes, I do. Is to remember that analogy that I used earlier in terms of if you're in the middle of a storm, that God is always with you. The creator of the universe is always with you. And when you look back on some of the things that you experienced a year ago when you thought there was no way you could survive that, there was no way that you could overcome that, that there was no way you would be rescued from that. It was just too much, even for the creator of the universe, right? Because you couldn't see the invisible hands that were working it out in the ethers. But you survived it. When you were in the middle of it, you thought that this is it. There's no way. And what happens is you go back to the principle, like you said, there is only one presence. And you go back to that. And the poem Footprints, I don't have it in front of me, is excellent. When you said, basically, God, why have you forsaken me? And then you look in the sand and you see one set of footprints because it was the creator universe carrying you when you couldn't go on your own strength. So that goes back to, you may not see how it's going to turn out or when it's going to be resolved. That's not our job. I keep reminding myself, get out of God's business. Okay. You're trying to handle it. That's not your job. That's not your job, Jamela. All you need to do is state what it is and know that it's going to unfold in divine time. That if I jump up in it, and call myself, well, the creator is busy. So let me just help the creator out, right? So then I undermine and sabotage it. And then you
That's
say, why did it happen? Because I stepped in it when I didn't need to. So then I sabotaged it. So the footprints, always remember that poem. If in the listening audience, look it up. It's very, very important and very, very telling and very true. God, the creator is always there carrying us.
Absolutely. And and I want to just get back to that previous quote, because there was a question. Not that one, this one. I got it. It says, when have you experienced a moment of inward wholeness that quieted fear, doubt, and uncertainty? And thinking about those moments, this is not just for you, Professor. It says, how can you return to the center more often in daily life? And so, we're basically asking, everybody, take a look at that, for two reasons. One, it's important to look at moments when we do feel that wholeness, when we feel that faith, that know that you don't even have to think about it, but we don't want to take it for granted. Okay. And then, because how often can we just go through our day, don't even realize that we were stepping in our power and everything just seemed to work out, and it's very easy to take that for granted, However, when moments of fear and doubt and uncertainty and worry and all that come in, we're going all crazy. What happens? What do we do to get back to center? To get, oh, wait a minute, where's that peace that I had?
Yeah.
And so we always suggest, like, develop your spiritual practices, get your spiritual toolbox or a spiritual tool belt. And hey, I've got some reading that I can just take it out and go right to it. And that will help me get right back to center, or have a phone number, somebody I can call on a regular basis. And like, oh, I don't know what's going on, and you don't have to say anything. Sometimes just the fact that we're calling somebody, like, hey, what's going on? Like, oh, I don't know what's going on, and they'll just say the right thing. And then there's meditation, those of us who practice meditation, and we can take a few moments regardless of where we are. It could be in the midst of a storm, like the story of Jesus and his disciples in the boat, and he's like, peace, be still, don't worry, and they're freaking out, they're like, no, there's that center within that we can always access, in the midst of whatever's going on.
I agree. Meditation is the first go-to, because meditation is listening. You put the request out there. So when you meditate, you're steeling yourself to listen to the divine answer. What happens is, so many times, I know I've done this in the past, I will ask and then I proceed to do action as opposed to waiting for the answer. And the answer can come through a book that happens to be on your bookshelf. It can come from a bird singing. It can come from a butterfly. It can come from an ad on a bus, but it is going to come. When you
That's
ask, you always will receive. And when you go into deep meditation, it stills the mind and it stills the body, your parasympathetic system. You become still, because the mind that created the problem cannot solve it. It's impossible. And the other thing is to do breathing. What usually happens when we're in crisis is we stop breathing. And then your heart starts to palpitate even more. And it creates more fear. So just do breathing. You can inhale to the count of 4 and hold to the count of 7 and exhale to the count of 8. Dr. Andrew Weil, or Weil, W-E-I-L, created the 4-7-8 breathing technique. And it just slows down your heartbeat. It gets you out of anxiety. And within less than 10 minutes, you can then come up with a viable solution because you've calmed the mind.
That's right. Yeah. And so one of my favorite acronyms, when you mention the word ask, is access spiritual knowledge.
Mm,
And if we can go a little bit deep just for a few seconds, and I like that because we know that heaven is within. God is in
mhm,
heaven, and heaven is within. God is within. So we are asking from a place of already knowing. So it's
mm,
like giving ourselves permission to be open to that divine answer. And you're
mhm,
right. Yeah, we have to go into meditation to still the noise, to quiet
mhm,
the noise, so we can hear what's actually there.
mhm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Oh, and which would allow us to be open to whatever, maybe is a child, the smile of a child, or just something that we not wouldn't ordinarily expect an answer to come from. you know
mhm.
but everything is going to provide us with the answer that we need,
Exactly.
and provide us with that. So next quote, and you can take the lead on that.
Okay. I am not driven by an obsession to scratch my name indelibly on the pages of history. I could not forgive myself if I lived without purpose, without recognizing that the purest joy in life comes in trying to help others. Oh, the late great Arthur Ashe.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I think what's happening now, particularly sometimes with young people, they feel like they don't have a purpose in life. We have a high rate now of suicide, particularly among young Black males, because people are feeling that they don't have a purpose and that things that are happening externally, because they're giving a lot of energy to it, are overwhelming. So I think because when we come to this existence, incarnate into this life, we have a divine purpose. And like you were saying, Reverend Rod, when people meditate, you can get still, and you can also then tap into that, which is part of your spiritual and genetic coding and blueprint. You tap into that, and you can realize what your purpose is. And it
Hmm.
has very, very little to do with money. It's how are you going to contribute to humanity? How are you going to make this a better place? And then once you really are in alignment with your purpose, the money comes. And what we do in this society is we put the money first. And then people become disenchanted and they walk off from jobs and whatever, because those things that they thought will fulfill them and make them happy do not. So the divine purpose is something that you already have. And by getting still, you reconnect with it, and you know what your purpose is. When if no one paid you, you still would do it.
That's right. Excellent. That's a great point. And it must resonate with our soul, with our spirit. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be anything that you went to school for 4 or 8 years or longer. It's like so many times I remember growing up, people would say, I used to hate the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was like, I would just say anything just so they'd leave me alone. I want to be a fireman. I want to be an astronaut. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's great. And I knew that's what I wanted to do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And even what I thought I wanted to do, I went to school I studied accounting in high school and college, and I couldn't stand it because I thought that's what I was supposed to. People were like, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, you can do that. And I did it well. I didn't like it. Yeah. So it's so important that we go with what resonates with us. That
Yeah.
I just like doing it. I love doing it and not even thinking about the money. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I used to work for the Department of Labor, helping people get jobs. And the number one question is, well, besides the job title, is how much does it pay? And people try to make themselves fit into the job description so they can earn that money You
Yeah.
know, I can do that. Yeah, you can, but does that really resonate for you? And
Hmm.
does that mean that that purpose has to be the same purpose throughout your whole life? You know, that's a I learned that I had to ask, well, how long am I going to be doing this? That was part of my meditation before I took a job. Like, okay,
Hmm.
is this for me? And you know,
Hmm.
how
Hmm.
long will I be doing this? Because it's not a question most of us ask. You know, I
That's
mean,
true.
growing up, you know,
That's
especially for us, you know, gray lives on the rise, it was you get a job, you work the job, then you retire, you know, and that was,
hmm
that was it, you know, regardless of whether we're meeting our purpose. All right, so I'll read this quote. It says, "We seek to awaken in ourselves a force which really changes our lives from within. To be born again is not to become somebody else, but to become ourselves." Thomas Merton, Choosing to Love the World on Contemplation, page 52. And
hmm
I love that because all my life I'm like, well, we ask that question, well, who am I? Who am I? You know, who am I being? Who am I becoming? And to be born again into who I am is so, what a wonderful feeling to be the self that I am intended to be. And
hmm
any comments on that?
Yes, I think what happens is, like when we were talking about our purpose, that's something that you come here with, and it's innate. But a lot of times we listen to our parents and people external to us, and we try to, like you said, with the Department of Labor, you try to make a round peg fit into a square hole, and so you pounding, trying to fit,
Mhm.
and it doesn't work. Even in relationships, when people are trying to fit and be that model person that they think the other person is seeking. And so what happens is we send our representatives. Okay, we don't send a true person. We send our representatives. Women, dress up and put on makeup and whatever. Guys tuck in their tummies, you know, and stand up straight. That works on maybe 3 months, if that long. And then the guy says, I can't hold in my stomach anymore. And the woman says, I got to take off these fake eyelashes there. This glue is getting in my eyes. It's bothering me. Because you sent your representative, because you tried to fashion yourself into that square hole, and you're a round peg, and it doesn't work. So the whole thing is just to, in the sense of becoming, just allow yourself to be, and know that you're perfectly fine the way that you are. And when you send that energy out, there would be someone who would accept you with all the beautiful attributes and flaws, because you've accepted you. And that's
That's
the
right.
whole thing with this programming external to us. It's always saying that we are not enough, and we are enough.
Absolutely.
You're
Absolutely.
not tall enough, you're not dark enough, you're not light enough, you're not thin enough, because that's how they make their money, to make you insecure. You're not enough. And so the whole time throughout life, we go around judging ourselves because we believe in the external information that we're receiving. And now we have the social media, which is doing a number on young children,
Mhm.
because they are trying to fit these prescribed roles that are not real, but they think that they are, to be the model person. And some of them are just not happy, and they're falling into depression, and they're not evolving to the beautiful beings that they came here to be. So just basically accepting who you are and being who you are, so you can continue to become the greater being that you came here to be.
Absolutely. And thank you for bringing that up because we have confirmation of what you just shared in the next quote. So please, why don't you lead us with that?
Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray. By Rumi. I love Rumi. Yeah. And the thing is to do what your heart is speaking to you to do. because I know I used to be in charge of multicultural affairs at a very prominent medical school. And it was my responsibility to recruit, to deal with retention, to deal with everything at this particular medical school for my population. And there were people who get a medical degree and never use it because their parents wanted that degree. You have to be a doctor. I know people personally who've done that. Miserable. And most of them went into public health. They never practiced a day in their lives. They never practiced medicine because that was not their passion. But they were taking on the expectations of their parents. And so when they truly listened to their hearts, they went into public health. And some of them just enough to feel completely because that was not their passion.
Yeah, it wasn't love. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to say is that love is not actually loving a thing or loving, something or something outside of ourselves. It's loving who I am when I am being and doing this.
Yes.
That's the expression of love. So yeah, I really loved. I felt the expression of love from within me when I was driving limo. When I was giving people, a wonderful experience in that limo, I loved being that and doing that for them. So I didn't necessarily love being a chauffeur. I loved myself in what I was doing. So it's a kind of a fine line that we have to look at. Like, how do we feel about ourselves when we're doing something, or even thinking about doing something? And so that also takes us back to being still and exploring what it is for myself, not what I see on my device and seeing other people do that and thinking that, oh, I've got to do that too. So it's really important that we take the time to study ourselves, to look at the influences in our lives and just recognize them for what they are. Those are other people's lives, especially on those social media. That's their life. That's not my life. And be able to just be at ease and at peace, even if I don't know who I am yet, who I am becoming yet. That's important because so many times we try, like you mentioned, put on a mask, try to make ourselves appear differently to the outside world, and there's no way we're going to feel comfortable about who we are on the inside. So thank you for that. So to assist ourselves and one another, and everybody can use this, one of the spiritual practices is using affirmations. And we're going to engage in that right now. So as we usually do, I invite everyone to just be still in the moment. And of course, if you're driving, don't close your eyes, but you can meditate while you drive. Just don't close your eyes, be aware. However, I invite each one to be still and to repeat the affirmation. But first, we take a breath and then recite the affirmation. It is so that I am worthy and valuable simply because I am. And let's take another breath. It is so that I am worthy and valuable simply because I am. I invite you to do the next one.
It is so. Take a deep breath again. I'm sorry. And exhale slowly. It is so that each decision and direction I take contributes to my greater growth and self-discovery. Okay, let's think about that and take a breath. Inhale. Exhale slowly. Again, it is so that each decision and direction I take contributes to my greater growth and self-discovery. Inhale again.
All right. Thank you. And the next
Exhale.
quote is, would you like to do that?
No, feel free.
And the next quote, take a breath and release. It is so that I realize that my existence alone is valuable. Every breath, every heartbeat encourages me to embrace self compassion and self acceptance, knowing that I am enough just as I am. Let's take a breath on that. Let it circulate. Let's take a breath and repeat this again. It is so that I realize that my existence alone is valuable. Every breath, every heartbeat encourages me to embrace self compassion and self acceptance, knowing that I am enough just as I am. And it is so, and so it is, and now it is. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So at this point, we're going to have Professor Jamela, be in the back room as I lead us in this centering, uh, affirming prayer. This grounds the conversation that wonderful conversation that we just had. And we'll bring Jamila back in just a moment. So go within with me in this high, sacred, holy place deep within, knowing that there's only one life. That life is God's life, the Creator's life, whatever name you choose to use. Great Spirit, Yahweh, Buddha, Allah, doesn't matter. There's only one. And that life, that spirit, that indwelling presence has many dots on the map for each and every one of us to be, knowing that that is the right place to be at that time. And right now, it has been said, look at where your feet are. You're in the right place. So I am knowing that each and every one of us is in the right place. And whichever place we move to, that each and every one of us is divinely guided, guarded, and protected, knowing that, yes, the divine purpose for our life is being expressed, is being explored, is being shared in all of the different ways that have meaning, just as we are, just as we continue to grow and unfold and bloom and blossom to be. And that is it. We are just here to be. So I am knowing that shows up in all of our affairs. It shows up in our affairs of our relationships, that we are in the right place at the right time, being the right person to the best of our ability. And that gets to change, because change is the only constant in existence. Everything must change. However, that as that change occurs, the other only constant is that God is right there with us all the time, side by side, or carrying us, or making the way smooth and plain. And even if it's rocky, I know that I am is not alone. I am presence. No one is alone, because there is within each and every one of us the presence of the divine. And that shows up in our health, in our well-being, mind, body, spirit, whatever it is that is more than the physical. Yes, it is metaphysical. It is the spirit that can never be harmed or hurt or touched in any way. This is our true nature, and it shows up. It works in from the inside out. It works out. It's a workout. We work that spirit out. in wonderful, powerful ways. And we do it with the conscious recognition, the conscious realization of truth. That not only are we placed physically where we need to be, we are supported with the divine substance wherever we are. Divinely supplied with all that we need to experience the best experience of health, wealth, and well-being. So I know that is not only true of our physical presence, it is true of the physical presence of financial abundance, of all that makes life worth living that we get to have and express and share and do more with. And the more we have, the more good we can do. And I give thanks for all of these aspects of the divine that show up in our lives that absolutely speak directly to our purpose on the planet. And I give thanks for this. I give thanks for knowing that this word spoken into the divine action of the law is already manifesting in ways seen and unseen, known and unknown. Yet, yes, it is happening even now. That there is a collusion, there is a wonderful conspiracy, divine conspiracy for the greater good, for your greater good, my greater good, our greater good, because there's only one. And in this one, I know that that law is operating for each one easily and effortlessly, because that is the nature of the law. And I know that it is so. And I give thanks for being able to express this, that it is so, and affirm with me by knowing that you know that it is so, by saying, and so it is, and now it is. Yes. Peace and blessings, beloved. Okay. At this time, we bring Lita Perez back.
Hello. Thank you for that prayer, that wonderful prayer.
You're welcome.
And so I get to share with everyone, as he mentioned in that prayer, all about abundance. Okay. And so we are so grateful for your donations to One Love Center for Spiritual Living. And I'd like you to hold your hand over your heart, and it helps us do the broadcast and just serve everyone. So we're grateful for anything that you can offer. And so please say with me this affirmation of abundance. Take a deep breath. Money is one of the many gifts of spirit is good. As I share my offerings, I know that I am actively creating a space to receive more gifts and more money and more good. I am grateful for the ability to give and for the good works these gifts do in our center and in our world. I know that this is so, and so it is, and now it is. Thank you so much. And now we are going to continue with our next prayer. Hold on a second. This just in. I'd like to make some announcements. Okay. So let's go ahead and talk about our announcements, and I'll bring those up right here. We are seeking technical support. So we appreciate you coming through. If you know of someone who has technical skills and would love to help us on Sunday service, and it doesn't have to be every Sunday. It could be that a shared Sunday. So we are looking for someone, a member, a friend, someone who can help us with managing our broadcast. Please let us know, and we'll continue to keep you also in prayer that we know you're coming and you're going to be helping us. Our next is our Fall Soul Visioning Retreat. And I'm going to bring Reverend Rodney back so he can talk on this particular announcement. So, Reverend Rodney, if you would like to speak on that, that would be wonderful.
Yes. So great. So grateful. Thank you, Lita. The Fall Visioning, Soul Visioning Retreat coming up in October is awesome visioning I'm not sure. I thought we had a flyer about that. However, it's led by Ray Jordan. She's a practitioner emerita, and it's a wonderful opportunity to practice visioning, life visioning process. It's a way that we mentioned. It's a spiritual tool that you can use. It's a spiritual practice in order to get close to the truth of your divine purpose. Maybe it's just for a particular project, or maybe it's like you're in the midst of evaluating your life, and you're like, well, I know I don't want to do what I did before. I know I'm feeling something else. You can use visioning to help bring that about, to bring that out. And it's a wonderful session. Any donation, and I guarantee you that however much that you share, you donate, you'll know that, wow, I could give even more for this. There's so much worth and value, because it's a worth and value of you, time and energy that you put into yourself. Okay, so thank you, Lita, for doing the other announcements. Are we finished with the announcements?
Yes, we
All right.
are. Yes,
All
we
right.
are. We
So,
can bring out Professor Jamela and bring her
yes,
back on.
very good. Thank you. So, any closing remarks that you'd like to share?
Yes, I would like to really thank you and Lita for this wonderful opportunity to talk about some spiritual truths. Reverend Rod, it's been a great pleasure in your discussing these truths with me and now having this exchange back and forth. I really enjoyed it because it gives people hope, and it reminds us of the one truth, that the Creator is all there is. In the midst of all of this chaos, like you mentioned, Jesus, or Yeshua, when he was in the boat and Peter was having an issue because he was sinking, and he was telling him, just peace, be still. Just know, despite the chaos around you, despite the discord around you, hold on to that truth. And what will happen is that your world is going to change and transform. I mean, speaking from personal experience, I know that to be true. So as
Right.
Reverend Rod has said, meditation is key. Talking to someone is key. Deep breathing is key. Being out in nature, all of those things will help you get back to knowing the presence of the one. So thank you
Absolutely.
so much. Thank you again, Lita, too, for your invaluable assistance. And Reverend Rod, thank you for your wonderful energy, vision, passion, and compassion for humanity. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you. And folks, if you know somebody who's 50 and over, and that could be the person you see in the mirror, contact her. You go check her out on YouTube. If you
Yeah.
can't find her any other way, if you didn't write down the email address, I mean the website, the Facebook address, all of that, just put Gray Lives on the Rise in YouTube, and you'll find it. And you can nominate yourself, and you can discuss and see what might work out for you,
Yeah.
because I think it's important. I think it's a wonderful way for us to communicate and to share good vibes, and to some people just don't know that, yeah, you can have it. You can have a different life. You can get examples of how other people are living and being, and see that for yourself. It gets us to take a look at who we are, and that's our conversation this month is really about that. What's my purpose, on the
Mm-hmm.
planet? How do I get to share that, explore that? How do I get to maybe even improve that if I feel it needs improvement? So
Mm-hmm.
thank you all again. We're going to do a closing prayer and have a wonderful dynamite song at the end. So stick around for that, and even afterwards. So bring Professor Jamela back, and you can join us as well, Lita, if you like. We're going to do a closing prayer, and I'll start it off, and I'll even end it. And just so knowing that right where I am, the I am presence is everywhere in everyone because we're all one. And I'm knowing that as this conversation was just so powerful by a powerful entity known as Professor Jamela Franklin and Lita Perez, and myself and all of you who are watching because we're all sharing that one vibe. It is just really powerful. And I know that we have plenty of tools in our tool belt to move out into the world, into our world as we understand it, to create greater peace, greater love, to have revealed our divine purpose to all the other intersecting worlds. And I pass my word to Professor Jamela.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I just give praise to the Most High for these many blessings with Lita, with Reverend Rod, and with everyone who's listening to this live and those who may listen to the pre-recorded message. We just know that every need that you have has already been taken care of. And just relax and know that it is so, and allow it to happen as you are continuing to become.
So I give thanks for the message today that was received by everyone and those who also shared their own points of view. What the point is anyway is us. It's God. It's God in us. And I'm so grateful for the words shared here today, for the expansion of who we are in this beautiful, vibrant, amazing life that we have, and the great joy of becoming, of having a good and faithful journey in this life. And so I say thank you to all of that, and I pass my word back to Reverend Rodney.
Oh, and how wonderful it is to know that by the end of this session, that each one has a greater, deeper inkling of the truth of who they are. What's the point anyway? You are the point. It's all about you and how you can be the best you can be. And I give thanks for this, knowing that, yes, there are eyes opening, hearts opening, mind opening to the greater truth being revealed through each and every one. And I bless each and every one until we meet again. And please, yes, know that you are enough right here, right now. And I just claim it by saying it is so, and so it is, and now it is. Right on. And we got a great song to help bring that message home even deeper.
All right. Ready?
Ready. Bring it. Yes, you've got the power because you are the power. That power is in, through, and as each and every one of you. Thank you all. Please remember to share this on YouTube, share it in Facebook or everywhere you can. Tell somebody, tell them, hey, you're right where you're supposed to be
That's
until
right.
you're supposed to be someplace else.
Hmm. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Be well. See you next week.